You're listening to a Papamutes Unmuted podcast.
All right, I want to welcome my guest today on the podcast, JoE, who has watched over 3,000 movies. Welcome to the show, Joe.
Thanks for having me, Papamutes.
So before we get started, the last podcast with Luke Gill, who was a brewmaster, we had a couple beers, so I'm going to just continue that tradition. I have a Wissahickon brew in front of me called Czechs Please, which is spelled Czech. I guess Czech Republic. I'm not sure of the background, but it's a 4.5 Bohemian Pilsner. Kind of low grade as far as volume. Do you have a beer with you?
I do. I'm drinking a Modelo Negra.
Now, where's that from?
It's from Mexico. It says it's a medium-bodied lager with slow-roasted caramel malts brewed for a rich, smooth taste. And I can confirm it has a rich, smooth taste.
Well, let me take a sniff on this. Hold on. Yeah, it's good. It's good. I like a heavier volume beer, but this will do. I like it. What's yours taste like?
It's got a nice smoky caramel flavor.
Smoky caramel. Awesome. All right, so let's get right to it. Have you watched over 3,000 movies, or is that the Will Chamberlain guesstimation?
No, in fact, I would say that's on a low end of the estimate. It's probably more than that.
No. What? Wow. So what are we talking about? 20,000?
Oh, no, not that many. Probably, I'd say somewhere between 3 and 4 is probably my best guess.
Can you remember the first movie you watched that said that you knew it was a movie and you weren't just like, plopped in front of the TV in your diapers, but you knew you were watching a movie? Can you remember that movie?
I'm not sure if I can remember the first movie I watched, but I remember the first movie I watched that really sort of knocked me out and got me into, looking up different movies and different directors. And that was Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Ooh.
I was probably 12 or 13, and I remember watching it. My parents had gone to bed, and I was watching it with all the lights off in the living room, and it really just kind of blew me away. I had never seen anything like that before. And it really just sort of sparked my interest in movies.
Cool. Now, do you lean towards any genre? Am I saying that right? Genre?
Genre, yeah.
Genre. Or did you watch movies that are, it doesn't matter, or do you like to lean towards a certain type?
A little bit of everything. I like dramas and comedies and thrillers, old and new in any language. You can throw documentaries in there.
That was one of my questions. Did you consider a documentary part of that 3,000, 4,000?
Oh, most definitely.
What was the last movie you watched?
I watched a movie called The Gambler with James Caan. It was from 1974, and he plays a English professor and gambling addict who gets in over his head with high-stakes gambling, and sort of the story of him gambling his way out of his gambling problem.
Hence the title.
Yeah, aptly titled.
I actually watched a movie the other night, and I'm curious if you have seen it, The Professor and the Madman.
I think you found one I haven't seen. What was that about?
That's Mel Gibson and Sean Penn. It's the story of Mel Gibson plays a professor, obviously, who's going to start the Oxford Dictionary, word by word. Personal opinion, it was good. I call it a one-timer. We're not talking Shawshank Redemption here, where no matter what portion of the movie's on, I just start watching it. It was interesting. I would say about a half hour too long for me,
Hmm.
I mean, I could do a 3-hour movie if it's holding me, but this was. I started to get like, okay, let's wrap this up. Good movie, one timer for me. The Professor and the Madman. Sean Penn plays the Madman, and I mean, it's a great concept, but I thought it dragged on a little bit. Do you have a time frame on your movies, or doesn't matter? Hour and a half, 3 hours?
No, I'm good with any length. I've seen 3 and 4 hour long movies, so it doesn't bother me a bit.
Have you ever seen Invincible?
I have, yeah.
You know who's in that, right?
I've heard that many times. I haven't rewatched it though to try and spot you. Maybe I'll have to do that.
It's quick. Maybe I'll come over and I'll freeze frame it for you. Good flick though. I like the music in that.
Yeah.
Were you ever in a movie?
Um,
I mean, not.
no,
I
I
mean,
don't think
a
so.
legitimate movie.
The only thing I could think of, they filmed Major League Two at the AAA team stadium in Harrisburg.
Oh, right.
And they brought in fake palm trees and stuff to make it look like we were in spring training in Florida. I was in probably third or fourth grade, and pretty much everybody I knew went to the stadium that day to sit in the stands. So I don't know if you'd be able to pick me out, but I am in the stands.
You are a
In the
megapixel
background at the
somewhere.
beginning. That's, yeah, in Major League Two.
All right, that qualifies. If you had a chance, just I don't know, you came into a lot of cash, and you can make a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Where would you go? Humor? Where would you go? Superhero? What kind of movie would you make?
I think I would try to make maybe like a crime noir, maybe like a Humphrey Bogart movie from the 30s or 40s.
Nice.
Maltese Falcon or something like that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Gangsta. I'd have to
Mm-hmm.
go with that myself. I would have to go with that. Now, obviously with COVID, you're not going to the theaters. But out of all these movies, I mean, let's just, you watch a lot of movies. Do you find yourself watching more at home or in the theater if it was a different situation?
Probably mostly at home.
How about before
A lot
COVID,
of
though? Before COVID, when you could actually go to a theater?
Still mostly at home. I'd go to the movies maybe 2 or 3 times a month to see new stuff as well as some older stuff. There's a theater I found here in Bryn Mawr that runs a lot of older movies and stuff you wouldn't see in the regular theater.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of times the stuff I want to watch you just can't see in a theater, or it's older and kind of the TV or streaming service is the only way to see it.
How about a horror flick? I mean, do you get scared? Not when you're younger. I mean, like right now, if you watch a scary movie, would you be scared? Or is it like it doesn't affect me? I don't watch a lot of horror flicks, but I don't know.
No, not so much anymore. When I was younger, it would, make sure you lock the door, and if you're downstairs, as soon as you turn the light off, you're kind of sprinting up the steps to make sure nobody's behind you.
How about The Exorcist? That's the one that really, when I was younger, made me go home.
Oh,
And be
love The Exorcist. Classic movie.
It is. I mean, the first hour sets it up, but yeah, after that, pretty wicked.
The music too. The music is so creepy in that movie.
Oh, it's classic. And you read a lot of books, right?